my overall feelings of Bertha so this morning I sat down, I looked at all the passages that I felt in the book were relevant to like how she is portrayed and how she is seen by others in moments of her agency. And then I asked myself this big question, which I think will take up a big chunk of our discussion today, of this whole kind of idea, like, was she crazy? Like, if she was like in today's time period, like how would things be different for her? You know, is she like this villain, or is she like a misunderstood person? And for me, I think my conclusions that I've kind of drawn, which I'm excited to dive into, is I feel like she is an incredibly tragic character. And I think that is my main sort of thing, is I'm like, I think she's in a story which we've already like talked a lot about how it gives us big chunks of like Jane's sad childhood and then Jane's sad time on the moors afterwards. We then in the middle are given this glimpse of this woman who has lived an even more wretched life than Jane. And I think having that element there that's constantly present in the story, which otherwise would have be just solely kind of whimsical and romantic, I think Bertha's presence is this reminder that it's like the world is harsh and cruel and life is mean and people suffer. And I think that's a big thing when I think of Bertha, is I think of just what a tragic character she is.
Yeah, I think I agree. There's this idea that I actually have been thinking about a lot recently. We take these seemingly contradictory ideas and we decide they're contradictory and they can't both be true at once. And therefore we hold them in complete separation. And I think that's what that quote at the beginning was talking about. Something can be problematic, analyzed, and enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same way I feel about so many pieces of Bertha. And in some ways it's trying to solidify those into a single conclusion that is so difficult for me, because she breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Bertha is thinking about Bertha as a person. And Bertha's not based off of a specific real person, but women were kept in attics. Women were locked away for being insane. And it's debatable whether or not they were insane. Like, she's not real.
Yeah.
And when I think too hard about her as a real person, it makes me a kind of sad I can't wholly express.
Totally. No, I feel that way too. And I think that's one thing that like we're going to touch on this, but we're definitely not going to dwell on it because it'll just bring us all down. And this is supposed to be a fun podcast, but I feel you, Lillian, especially like cards on the table. I'm having kind of a gloomy day myself. And so to especially think about these things, it's easy to really be like, wow, in a lot of ways, a lot of these things have not yet fully been resolved in our current society. But we're going to analyze that and discuss it as we go.
Well, and I think the other half of it for me, the other like conflicting idea is, we're going to talk about this in a lot more depth as well. I think there's a way to read this that is just as true to me, that is Bertha as a metaphor. And that reading brings me a really special kind of joy.
Okay.
That is like, in the same way that like reading a tragedy can make you sad and happy at the same time because of the depth of human feeling. Like, I love readings of Bertha as a metaphor and as this like mirror to Jane and some of the other things we're going to speak in depth about. And I have a lot of curiosity around that.
Yeah.
But I think the thing I feel like I'm going to talk about the most in this episode is ideas about Bertha that seem conflicting, but both feel true to me.
Totally.